What's going on, guys? So a lot of people think that because I'm a traditional style or classical style martial artist that I come off a little harsh towards sport martial arts. And the fact is, I'm really quite fond of the sport styles. You know, the fact is, like we've discussed before, the majority of violent crime, the majority of violence happens to a very small segment, like a 1% segment or less of the population, except in certain concentrated areas. So really, when you consider it that way, you're training for a fight that may never come, you're training for that 1% chance. What you're really looking at is needing something that is going to fall more along the lines of general preparedness, and there's not really such a thing. But the problem with sport martial arts is that they are very specialized in one direction. Now, there's nothing wrong with that ultimately, and like I said, you have a 99% chance that you'll never have to use this stuff. You might as well have some fun, do something you like. If you like judo, go and throw on the gi, throw people around, have some fun, win a medal or two. It's great, absolutely great. I have no qualms with that. Just don't be delusional about what it allows you. On the other side of it, traditional martial artists have, since the 20th century, have fallen into this trap of, well, if I just trust the system and the techniques, I'm safe, and that's not the case. You have to get yourself, you have to get your mind, your body, your neural net into a space of being able to use this stuff kind of live and off the cuff. And that requires simulation. That requires really, really good instruction. That requires actually some, sport style sparring and drilling. But it also requires a lot of other stuff, a lot of mind game type stuff, psychological stuff that is going to get you into kind of that fear space to manage it. And if you can start dealing with that kind of stuff, you're going to be a lot better off. And the fact is that the majority of that 1% violence, the majority of that violence is stuff that your martial arts isn't going to work on, whether it's judo and boxing, or karate and Wing Chun. There's no defense for the attack you don't see coming. There's no defense for the thing that hits you before you're ready. You have to have a lot more in the pot than just a bunch of punches, kicks, throws, and locks. That stuff is great, but it's just not enough. And if you're talking general preparedness, you've got to be looking a lot more at the head space than at the hand space. And that's just the unfortunate truth of it. But on the other side of it, you do have to be able to use that head space to put your body into action, whether that's running away, putting up a fight, standing your ground, becoming a human shield, whatever it takes. You have to have your mind and your hands agree with each other. And that takes a considerable amount of training. And unfortunately, the traditional martial artists that love to stick their nose in the air at the sport martial artists to say, well, but we have battlefield techniques, we have deadly techniques, we have stuff that you can't use, like eye gouges and headbutts and groin kicks. That is fantastic, but do you train it to use it live? Because if you don't, it's not going to be available. It's going to be on the bottom of your toolbox, and you're going to have to be digging through it while the other guy's attacking you. That's not a good place to be in. It's the same thing in sport martial arts. When you eliminate a significant portion of the tactics available to you, it's not that you can never come up with them on your own. It's that there is a significantly lower chance that those tactics you haven't trained ever surface to be used. That's the problem. Once again, this is a headspace problem, not a hand space problem. So what we're really looking at is developing ourselves in a way that we have tactics available for certain contexts, not overly specialized in any one direction, getting a variety of information from a variety of sources. Yes, this starts to sound a lot like mixed martial arts or Jeet Kune Do, but it's just a general mindset of, warriors have, for a long time, needed a whole lot of tools in their bag, not just how to use their weapon. There's a whole lot more going on in the world of conflict and violence than just putting up your dukes and duking it out, than going head to head with just one person. There's a lot more going on, and you have to train your headspace You have to train your body to deal with those kind of stresses in a much more lively and practical way. Really what we're looking at, you can consider sparring part of this. Sparring is absolutely fantastic, and competition is fantastic for testing out pieces of the puzzle. Obviously not for everything, but for the rest of it, you have to start working in scenario type work, which is going to be a lot more on your instructor's head than on your head, because a lot of this stuff is going to have to kind of attack you by surprise. You're not going to be able to be aware of what's coming at you in order to simulate the levels of excitement and fear and whatnot to get you into that headspace. And it's also going to take a very skilled instructor or a team of facilitators to be able to handle that safely and make sure you don't go over the edge on the dummies. So there's a lot more to think about than just this style versus that style, this arena versus that arena. There's a whole lot to be concerned with. And so really when it comes down to it, again, I think the sport martial arts are great. I think they're fantastic. Learn some boxing, learn some kickboxing, go have an MMA match, do some judo, do some Olympic taekwondo, whatever. I think that stuff is great. Please, if that's what you enjoy doing it, roll the dice. 99% of the time, that's going to be more than enough. But if you're really looking for general preparedness, or even specific preparedness, knowing you're going into a situation or an area where you have a higher likelihood of getting into something, you need to have a little bit more in your toolbox and available, organized at your fingertips for rapid deployment than just a sport martial art. And sure as shit, your strip mall taekwondo is not going to take care of that. Start looking for more. You can't just be a monostylist anymore. It's just not enough if you want more than simple recreation. Till next time, good journey. Thanks for watching. We'd love to see the family grow, and training is always more fulfilling when you share it with those you love. So please like and share the video. If you want to go deeper, visit blacksunrenaissance.com and follow us on Facebook, where you can also join our little social club called Martial Arts Nerds with an exclamation point. See you there. Good journey.